Naming your business. How to choose your coaching business name. Are you excited about a brand new coaching business, but you're not sure what to name it? Or maybe you have a few business names in mind, but you're not sure how to pick the right one. If you've just launched your coaching business and now you want to choose the perfect name, you're in the right place, because in this video, I'm going to share how to choose your coaching business name. Hey, welcome back to my channel. If you're new to me, my name is CourtneyLSanders. I'm a full-time online business and life coach, as well as wife and mom, and now real estate investor and stock investor, and I've been dabbling in a lot of things, so make sure you're subscribed to this channel to get all of it. But in short, I do all the things and I wear all the hats, and today I want to talk to you about naming your coaching business. So I know a thing or two about naming your coaching business because I've actually had to change my name, and I talk about that in detail in my What You Need to Know Before You Create an LLC video, which you can check out right here. But I had a little issue when it came to my business name, and it was kind of infringing on another similar name, so I ended up having to change it. So that's something that you definitely want to keep in mind when you are thinking about your business name. But even beyond that, even if you're thinking of business names that you know are free or clear, they don't infringe on anybody's trademarks or copyright, and you're just like, I just don't know what is the best name for me, there's a few things that you want to consider based on what you want to do with your business. So we're going to get into that right now. Okay, the first thing that you want to consider when it comes to naming your coaching business is, do you just want to build a business or do you want to build a brand? And I share this because if you just want to build a business, meaning, you don't need to have your brand name out there, you don't want your name necessarily to become synonymous with you or what you do or what have you, you can name your business the way you see like a law firm name their business, right? It could be, Jane and Associates, LLC or whatever. It could just be something very run-of-the-mill, such and such coaching enterprises, what have you, and boom, that's the name for your coaching business, and there's nothing to think about. But if you really want to build a brand, and not surprisingly, I have a bias for building a brand because I've seen how powerful it is in my own coaching business and in the coaching business of my clients and my students, then you really want to take that into consideration when it comes to creating your name. Is this going to be something that people can remember when people say this brand name that you're coming up with? Will they immediately think of whatever it is that you are trying to create branding around? So you really want to weigh those options. Am I just here, I just want to have a business, I just want to have a coaching practice, not trying to build a big brand? Or are you like, no, I totally want to have a brand name? Based on which path you're going to choose, that is going to affect how you name your coaching business. All right, the next thing that you need to consider, and I touched on this in the last point, is do you want your coaching business name to be associated with you? So again, I've done this on both ends. I had a brand name that was not my actual name. It was a name that I made up that, was for my coaching brand. And then when I shifted, I decided to put everything under my own personal name, and my name, CourtneyLSanders, became my brand name. So you'll have to consider that as well. And again, no surprise, I do have a bias toward being associated with your business. I think at the end of the day, we're all humans, and humans love to connect with other humans. And so if you make your brand name and your business too corporate and sterile, it's kind of like people can't connect with that. It's the same reason why you see large corporations, why they use, athletes and celebrities. Why? Because these are people, and we like to connect with people. So I think one of the greatest advantages that you have as a small business and as a solo entrepreneur is the fact that you're an actual person. You're not this huge conglomerate. And so you want to use that to your advantage by really leveraging that and becoming associated with your brand. Also, we see even some of the biggest corporations, like say Apple. Apple was a brand name, but part of the reason why people love Apple is because it was associated with Steve Jobs and the characteristics that we love about Steve Jobs. Ditto for Tesla, right? Tesla is its own brand name, and Tesla in and of itself is both a brand name, but it's also an actual person's name, right? Nikola Tesla. But the modern day Tesla company, a lot of people love it because it's associated with Elon Musk. And so he is a person that people aspire to be like. And so the brand is really tied and intertwined with who he is as a person. So you're going to have to think for yourself, do I want to be associated with my brand? Do I want my face and my personality kind of intertwined with what I'm doing in my coaching business? Or do I want to keep them separate? Because those are things that you need to consider before you come up with your brand name. All right, the third thing that you need to consider when it comes to naming your coaching business is, do you want your coaching business to be associated with a movement? So this is taking it even a step further, right? First, it was just, do you want to have a business or do you want to have a brand? Then it was, well, do you want it to be associated with you? But now I'm asking, do you want this to be associated with some kind of like movement that's happening, that where people are, when they say your brand name, they don't just think of you, but they think of whatever it is that you're really passionate about, right? So maybe you have a health and wellness coaching business and you're thinking about different names. When you're playing around with names, maybe you want to play with something that speaks to, health and wellness, or if you're a vegan coach, veganism, or if you're really big into environmentalism, save the planet, global, green, like you want to come up with names that when people say that, it makes them think about ultimately a movement that they want to be a part of. Also, you want to think about when you are coming up with your coaching business name, if you do want to create a movement, is your business name something that people can call themselves? And so there's a great book, I'm actually blanking on the name for it, but we'll put it in the comments below, but it's a book, a marketing book about Lady Gaga. And it talks about how she calls her community, little monsters, right? I also think about Beyonce and how she calls her community the Beehive. And so when you're thinking about your brand name, if you are trying to create a movement, if this, coaching business is bigger than just a business, it's about changing the world in the way that you see fit, you want to play with names that are things that people can call themselves, right? That way they can identify with being a part of your movement. So, I know Beyonce, that's her actual name, but she was able to kind of do a play on her name and say, oh, okay, the Beehive, right? So even if you're going to use your own name or you're going to come up with a different made up name that is going to represent your coaching business, if you're really trying to create a movement, make sure that it's something that lends itself to something that people can call themselves. That way they can identify and say, oh, I'm a part of this movement. I am the XYZ hive, or whatever it is you come up with. All right, I have more naming tips where that came from, but before I get into those, I want to hear from you. What are the names that you're thinking about for your coaching business? Go ahead and put them in the comments below. All right, the fourth thing you need to keep in mind when it comes to naming your coaching business is, do you want to expand your niche? So I talk a lot about you really need to nail your niche. You want to start narrow in the beginning because that's where you're going to develop a lot of credibility, how you're going to get a lot of success stories, what people are going to know you as, right? But when you're starting off in a narrow lane, yes, you want to start there, but you also want to have your eye toward the future. And you want to be thinking to yourself, do I want to start here, but I have ambitions of being even bigger, right? So maybe you are starting with parenting. Maybe you help new moms, parent unruly toddlers, and you are like toddler parent coaching. But when you think about your business and your brand and what you ultimately want, maybe you want to do like family coaching. You see even helping in marriage and dealing with teenagers and aging parents, and you foresee that you want to have this huge coaching brand that really help families, play together and stay together. I just made that up. Feel free to use it if you're in the family coaching industry. And so if that is part of your aspirations, again, you want to keep that in mind when thinking about what you name your coaching business. Because if right now you're in this niche, and for the example that I use, toddler parent coaching, you could come up with something cute like, toddler tantrum something, or that wasn't that cute, but whatever. You can make up some name that's related to the very, very specific niche that you are in. But if you have ambitions of growing beyond that, understand that it's going to limit you as you grow, because again, you're coaching on marriage and teenagers and, aging parents and all of these things, and your business name is like toddler or something, right? It doesn't really make sense. So make sure that you are doing a bit of vision casting and goal setting when it comes to your coaching business, and you're clear on ultimately where you want to go, and make sure that your name is going to be sufficient for you so that you don't have to change it as you are on the journey to get there. All right, and the fifth thing that you want to keep in mind when it comes to naming your coaching business is if you ultimately want to get funding for your business. And so I talk about this in my video all about how to get funding for a new business, but I highly, highly recommend that as soon as possible, like as soon as the ink is dry on your LLC, which again, I have another video that talks about all the things you need to keep in mind when creating an LLC. As soon as the ink is dry, you want to start building a business credit profile so that you are able to get funding for your business. You want to be able to get those business business travel credit card so that as you do expenses for your business, you can travel first class to really exotic places. You want to make sure that you have access to a line of credit so that as you are growing your business and maybe you're bringing on more team, you're able to kind of keep your cash flow smooth, you know, in between clients. Maybe you have a bunch of clients who haven't paid yet and you're waiting on those invoices, but you're investing in a new website. You know, you want to just make sure that you have resources and funding available. And so I say that this is related to your name because you want to make sure that your name is something that is not going to raise eyebrows to banks or people who might want to fund you. So if you know, have kind of a kooky name, or, you know, maybe you have a suggestive name, or depending on what you're coaching on, you know, maybe it could be a play on words. I've seen some people, because their coaching brand is kind of this rock and roll rebellious, you know, maybe they have curse words in their business name. Again, you want to keep this in mind, because if you in the future want to get funding for your business, and I would recommend you do it as soon as possible. I find that people tend to wait until they're like a big business to get funding, and I'm like, but you should have gotten funding when you were just getting started, when you didn't have any money, right? Like, get funding then, right? But if your business name has, you know, these curse words or these like suggestive words, or, you know, kind of off-putting, or just things that would make somebody raise an eyebrow, understand that whatever your business name is, you're going to be writing this down on applications and filling this out in forms. And so you just, you know, stay true to your brand and all of that, but keep that in mind. You don't want to name your business anything that is going to block you from getting opportunities in the future. All right, if you love these strategies, I have even more where those came from in my free Coaching Success Secrets workshop. This is a workshop that I did not too long ago. When you sign up via the link below, you're gonna get instant access to the replay. And this is where I go in depth behind the scenes on all the secrets you need to keep in mind when you are building a coaching business. So naming is just one aspect, but there's all types of things that you need to consider. So if you want all of my secrets when it comes to building a successful coaching business from scratch, make sure you check out that workshop by clicking the link below. All right, thanks so much for watching this video. If you loved it, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe. And if you can't wait till my next video, even though I'm putting them out daily or near daily by now, but you can come on over to my podcast, which is available on both iTunes and Spotify. And if you can't wait till my next podcast episode or my next video, then it's fine. You can check me out hour by hour on Instagram, check out my stories, or leave a comment on my latest post on my feed and let me know that you watched this video. And with that, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.